Hi there. We're live. We're finally live. I think it was a great job that Wojtek did to get us live today. Thank you. I hope we get to do all the presentations today. Although we are a little bit late, we will go very quickly through all the agenda. We're going to have a very interesting agenda today, which it's going to bring up two different themes: the currency theme and the donation theme. And we're going to hear from those two distinct topics, very interesting projects that are taking place. So we will start with a very short but concise introduction of blockchain for humanity, which makes me really proud and happy to share with you. So we at Blockchain for Humanity, we are putting technology at the service of humanity. I love this phrase: if you're not part of the solution, means you're part of the problem. So ignoring what it is wrong out there doesn't really solve any problems. Therefore, we need to actively be part of what is solving the issues that are out there. And this is perhaps the fundamental basis of what drives Blockchain for Humanity. We're a bunch of people from different cultures, from different places, and most of us early adopters of the blockchain technology and specifically Bitcoin, and with different backgrounds. But one thing that is definitely something that unites us all, this is the core team, by the way, is that we are early adopters, we're innovators, we're founders, but we are also idealists. And with that, it means that we are committed to see this technology bring the best of it. And we know that it has the capabilities to bring the best that it can bring in order to be a public service, in order to be a vehicle to channel positive impact. This is how we facilitate impact. We looked at the areas in which impact can be best served. And we have identified three main areas. The first one is social innovation, and this is something that it's very rooted with all of us. And I think this is probably the reason why we exist today. We started out by scouting projects that were using blockchain as a means to bring some social impact into society, into communities, or into underserved communities. And this was the way to say and to show the world that blockchain or cryptocurrency has more than just the intrinsic value that we see. So Blockchain for Humanity started out with a Blockchain for Humanity Awards back in 2017. And this was to incentivize the use of social innovation, as I mentioned before. These awards, I'm very proud to say, one of these awards went to a person that is going to present today, ETH Kids. And it doesn't mean eat kid. And he's going to explain the amazing things he's doing. And this is where we know that technology is actually bringing purpose. The second area that we use to facilitate social impact is technology adoption and education. And this has been a very exciting process for us. In this particular vertical, we are looking into implementing educational programs for charities or NGOs, and it's specifically geared to get people involved in adopting cryptocurrencies or adopting blockchain technologies. One example of this is the team has just recently got involved in creating edu blocks, and these edu blocks are series of programs or courses that allows us to then teach people that will teach others what it means to adopt a cryptocurrency and how can they deal with cryptocurrencies on a day-to-day, how do they manage their wallets and so on. Yeah, edu blocks, rocks. So therefore, it's we believe that this is a very important aspect of adopting technology or actually introducing emerging technologies to anyone. Education is really critical, and this is an area that we are going to be very much involved, not just now, but also in the future. So the last vertical is transforming business around purpose. And this is a bit of a difficult one to explain, but we have a great opportunity to make sure the business that are in this ecosystem, and I will go a little bit in detail or more detail on that, have the characteristics to really bring the purpose out by using this technology and making sure that not only do they make money with it and do they become successful business, but they also have a clear purpose to target. And I'll go a little bit in more detail about that. So not innovations are created equal. And this is something that we are very much focusing in finding out how is the technology being used. And we really are very careful in making sure that technology is not being used because it sounds great, but because it is necessary. So justifying the use of blockchain and technology overall has to have a real clear purpose for that technology to exist. And this is where we take very seriously the job of reviewing applications for the Blockchain for Humanity Awards. So in this blockchain space, which we are very proud to be part of, we learn to evolve existing models and introduce new ones. And those introductions to new models also are very transformative and, to a certain extent, disruptives. This is the program that I told you about, the EduBlocks, and maybe you're not, if you're watching this, you can't really see the pictures in there, but these pictures are worth 1,000 words, because this is in El Sante, this is in Salvador, and these people were equipped to deal and learn how to use Bitcoin. And this is all pre-COVID. And what was really amazing about this particular use case and what Bitcoin Beach is doing, and we are supporting what they're doing, is creating an economy that is around Bitcoin. And it's a small village in El Salvador on the coast, which is very much open to tourists and to surfing, and it's a great place to go for vacationing. And what you would be surprised is that this village is accepting Bitcoin, mostly in most of the businesses there. But in order to get to that level of adoption, there was a lot of education that had to take place. And during the COVID, because most of the people in the village already had wallets and they were very familiar how to deal with the Bitcoin, they didn't have any problems like most people did. They stayed at home. They were able to buy and purchase their necessities, their food, which was then delivered to their houses. And these are people that normally would be living under the poverty line, and they were able to make it. And this is something that really just tells you right here, right now, that this is transformative, and this is definitely a way where we see this going further. I like this slide because I wanted to just mention that 33% of the applications that we receive in how we use blockchain technology are socio-economic inclusion type of applications or projects. That means that there is a very distinct need to provide some prosperity into underserved communities. We support, as one of the use cases, strongest use cases of blockchain, the implementation of community currencies. And this is one of the themes that we have for today. We will have Gus, who's going to explain in more detail stuff that we will like to do and how we see this pilot unfolding. And we will have a little bit more details on that, so I won't go into too much detail, but I just want to say that we as a team, we see this to be a solid use case of that technology, and we want to push this forward. So the last bit is this new generation of purpose-driven innovation companies, and that are really driven by conscious leadership. And the reason why we insist that this ecosystem is ready for this is because we are already dealing with a very nascent emerging technology. If we look at the reasons why we're part of this, most of us will say that inclusiveness, empowerment, and transparency are in the values that we normally talk about and connect with each other at that level. Therefore, this is the right area, this is the right space to demonstrate that we can really build technology that has a particular purpose. And you don't have to be a charity to build a better world, but you just have to have a clear purpose lined up and making sure that it's in the core of your business model. So that's it. This is who we are. Join the Force for Good. And I am very pleased to now present the rest of the agenda through Gus. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Grace, can you see me? So yeah, this was just a small introduction of the meetup. Of course, we wanted to share our last updates from Blockchain for Humanity. Thank you, Grace. And we have two themes for speaking today. We announced that we wanted to speak about a lot of community currencies, but before going to that, we want also to remember the people the importance of giving, of sharing. Okay, we don't need to be going to the final solution if we already have tools for doing things. So my friend Alex is going to present a very cool tool, which is found in the Eternity blockchain, which is called Superhero. And better he than me to explain this. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks. Thanks, Gus. Thanks, everyone. It's really so special to be part of Blockchain for Humanity, which, as Grace said, has the purpose of empowering like social impact models around blockchain, but at the same time being working with Superhero that is doing it. It's changing things in the internet. In this case, creating a fairer internet, an internet that is very different to the one we know today. And as I always said, movement demonstrates itself by walking. So I'm going to show you very briefly what is this about. Okay, so we got here. Let me check how can I manage the keyboard and the microphone. But we have here the Blockchain for Humanity Twitter. And guess, I want to recognize, I want to appreciate, I want to reward, I want to show some love to Blockchain for Humanity. So, well, okay, I just will open my Superhero extension here. It's quite easy. And I will say send tip. Okay, I'm sending a tip to this URL, to this Twitter account. And I'm going to say, let's say, like, okay, 100, like 25, almost $25. And I'm going to send a comment here. Wait. Why is not writing? The keyboard is not working. I will do it from here. Sorry. Let me check. Yeah. Now, it should be. Where is my? Why is not working? My keyboard.
Because it's US dollar. Because you're testing it.
Yeah, it's a real demo. So no, but it's the keyboard. Yeah, now it's working. Okay. The Bluetooth connection is not very fine. I have internet. Well, I will do it from the.
You want Kirill to present? No, like.
My computer is a bit laggy now.
You have an alternative address?
POG. No, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, I will write it in the normal keyboard. It's gonna be better. Maybe I'm, okay. No, thanks for your work. Okay. So. Okay, so I have successfully sent a tip to Blockchain for Humanity. Some love, some reward, and this that seems very, very easy, or is going on under the hood from my wallet. I have sent this money to a smart contract, and that smart contract is gonna call some oracles that are gonna check in this page if there is a valid address to send the money. As you can see there at the end in the bio, it's written blockchain for humanity.chain. There is the naming service, like the human readable addresses. And now, like when the tip is claimed that I can do it for blockchain for humanity, or they can do it themselves, what is gonna happen is that the oracles are gonna tell the smart contract, yeah, this is the address belonging to these guys in this URL, and automatically it's gonna send your tip there. Easy, right? Well, now think that it's permissionless, it's censorship resistant, no KYC, all my donation is going directly to Blockchain for Humanity with no one taking any slice of it. And most important, it's open source. Everyone can check what's going on in this social network. So I guess this is like something that we are not very accustomed to, because now we are like accustomed to social networks in which there are a lot of people grabbing money from content creators. There are some people censoring content and ruling the internet like they want. So we should like change the paradigm of the social networks that we want to use. But Superhero is not just a social network to share content. It's a new environment for empowering social interactions and financial interactions peer-to-peer between people, in which, as I said, there is open source. Everyone can shape the future of the features that there is gonna have. Like, for example, oh, sorry, Kirill, do you have a question? Well, just at the end of the movie. But for example, there is very, very big differences. Like, for example, you need permission in Brave. You need to register. In this case, when you download, I hope you all download the extension in superhero.com, you will see that you don't have
who's gonna also to talk to us about different trends in technology, especially about DeFi and how you can improve ways that you make your donations with DeFi, the decentralized finance protocols. Am I right? Yeah, something like that.
Just a second. Hey, hi everyone. Yeah, eat kids, and indeed it has nothing to do with eating. So who I am? Well, I'm not blockchain for good. I'm not as good. I'm not superhero. It's actually I'm doing something different. Actually, I'm doing the decentralized insurance concept. So much more commercial stuff, but still a little bit fun. So Eat Kids is my hobby project. So free time, I'm contributing to that. It's open source, non-commercial. Well, everybody is welcome to join. So so I'm founder of Highbridge. I'm a builder. So I'm building a blockchain stuff for 4 or 5 years, and I'm a father of 2. So what is it? Eat Kids? Eat Kids is just a protocol for raising donations for children. So sounds quite obvious. So well, obviously it benefits from the traditional stuff like transparency and fund distribution, etc., etc. But I thought, well, that's all cool. But what if we incorporate the decentralized finance concept in it? Basically, what if people are greedy, right? I mean, it's obvious, and all these bubbles of the Ethereum and the blockchain in general are about the greed. So first we saw that 3 years ago, 4 years ago with ICO hype, everybody was trying to make a quick buck there. Now we are perhaps in the beginning of another one, which is their DeFi and the idea of their yield farming, and that you can lock somewhere 100, unlock some 80 or 100 euros, you generate 80 euros of something else. Those 80 you lock into something else, you generate 50 of something else, and so on and so forth, which sounds cool. But anyway, long story short, that's all. It's all about greed, actually. So I thought, well, it's in its people nature, maybe, and we have a charity and we have a greed, so maybe we can link somehow and benefit one from another. So I thought, well, let's do some rewarding in charity. So imagine you give away some funds for free, and you get something in return, some sort of a goodie or something that has a value. So how does it actually work? So Eat Kids is a platform where NGOs can register for free, and the people can just donate to any NGO of their choice. Every donation got split into 2 parts, 90% and 10%. 90 goes directly to NGO, and 10% goes to another fund, the community vault, that one. And in return, what happens is this vault generates a token, a goodie token called chance. And this has a value underneath. Does anybody know what bonding curve is? Or is anyone who doesn't know what bonding curve is? Bonding curve. Bonding curve. Bond. To bond.
It's a curve that
Right. Okay. That's really simple, really short. So the idea is the bonding curve idea is the market making mechanism that guarantees 100% liquidity. Okay, let me rephrase in other words. So that means that you buy, so there is an asset available for purchase. You buy it at certain price. So you buy it for cryptocurrency and you got this asset in return. Another person comes after you and tries to buy the same asset. But the price is a little bit higher. Price moves like this. So more asset is purchased, the higher the price is. The benefit, so it's what is called market making. So it makes the price for you. The funny thing is you can sell it back. And the selling back, every time the asset is sold back, it gets actually burned. So there is less available on the market. And while being sold, the price goes down. But you unlock the underlying asset and you basically buy it for another price. Whole idea is sort of a Ponzi scheme, but sort of. But the idea is that if something gets really popular, the price skyrockets and you are bloody rich. So getting back to the previous slide, actually, so what for EatKids, what happens is every time you donate, you buy this asset for a specific price, and the price is supposed to go out and go up. So maybe, just maybe, with donating to good purpose, you maybe get rich someday, or maybe not. Whatever. It's so small portion of the donation that is gets there. So it's really it's little incentive. So it's not really. I would not recommend it. Go and buy. It's actually you cannot even buy it. The only way to get it, you need to donate some funds. So for EatKids is a little bit more complicated, and I definitely will not go into details here. But the idea that every donor, and we have two here, this stranger Satoshi and Vitalik, and each of them are donors. And what happens under the hood in EatKids is they buy the same asset, but each of them have own price. So Vitalik was donating more, so his price is higher. So basically he can sell it for higher price as well. No details, but the idea is that there is some goodie that you get upon the donation. That's simple. And another one is, well, as I said, so I'm using the Ethereum network. So it's not, so the transaction cost now is absolutely insane. And basically what happens is now in EatKids, in order to donate, you have to pay like $10 or $15 for just transaction fee, which is absolutely crazy. So I thought, well, okay, Ethereum 2.0 is on the way, but let's use another concept is called what I call the passive charity. So, and I said that, well, you can be good 24/7 for no cost, and it costs you nothing really. How does it work? Is you might know the few lending protocols out there. The biggest one is nowadays is Aave. Does anybody who doesn't know that? The Aave, what is the idea? Okay, they are one of many. There are a few of them, but now they are operating with insane amount of 1 billion euros. Actually, at this moment, it grew up 10 times in the last 3 months. But the idea that I can deposit my crypto in it, and somebody can lend it. So I get some yield or interest on depositing, and somebody needs to pay the interest to. So it's sort of a banking or deposit credit idea. So what I do here for EatKids is that I allow people to forward the interest earned on Aave to EatKids. So imagine I put some I got 100 euros, for instance. I lock it into Aave. Typically, I would get some interest back, but sometimes I try to be a good one, and I can actually forward my interest to go to the platform, and the funds will be distributed over NGOs. So let's show how it works. Maybe I will be a little bit more lucky then. So this is EatKids. This is actually version 2, which is on testnet at this moment, and it has some redesign and few. So you see here, I got two NGOs registered, and you can donate to any of those and get some token called chance in return. This is a goodie one. So I can sell my this reward at any moment of time at specific price. So I can sell it for this money. But also I can do this passive charity, and this is one. It shows that at this moment 2 people, and we don't know who it is, are forwarding their interest of 6,000 DAI to the platform. So the beauty of that means that I don't have to perform any transaction. I don't have to pay for transaction fee. It just happens every moment. Actually, you see that it's been already forwarded whatever 94 cents. If I open this pop-up just a minute later, it will be already 95 cents. So it happens every 15 seconds. Something, so let's try, maybe it's already, so it was 94 cents now. And I just refresh the page. Well, it's actually even more than €1 just came in. So it doesn't cost me anything. Well, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. They need a picture. There. Andrea.
Sure.
When I see it, I'm sure. So I want so basically, if I donate, I get for donating a bonus token for participating in the donating scheme.
Yep.
Right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And the other concept is that we put our money in a DeFi pool that has like low risk and it gets a small amount of interest, and we donate that to the NGOs, and I can take it out whenever I want.
Exactly. Yes.
Those are pretty cool ideas.
So that's exactly how it works. So you see, I'm already forwarding my interest by just clicking a button, and I just disable it at any moment I want. 24/7, no cost, no nothing.
Thanks a lot, Kirill. Our next speaker is Andreas, who's going to present Trustlines. It's an open source protocol for making community currencies, a very special kind of community currencies that I personally like a lot. But Andreas is this must be 2%.
Okay. Okay, so trust lines, a protocol. What I'm going to present is what you can build on trust lines, which we refer to as people-powered money. So bringing the power of money back to people. More. Okay, so first of all, what is trust lines and what is people-powered money? Has anybody of you heard of mutual credit? Mutual credit. So mutual credit is a concept of money that has been a long time around already. It's basically, we give ourselves a credit line and we can spend the credit amount then with people and create our own money. So the question we addressed as we started dealing with trust lines and people-powered money was, does crypto currently solve the problem of financial inclusion? And we said it does not, no. Why does it not? I'm going to be very challenging here. In any country that is having problems with not being within the financial systems, people come in and say, crypto can help. The problem with crypto is you need to buy crypto, to have crypto, to spend crypto. So in any region that doesn't have money, that doesn't have a value, and that only has themselves as value, people are basically presenting them the idea that they buy stuff so that they can have stuff so that they can buy stuff. That doesn't work always. What helps is giving power to the people that they can create their own value. And that is something that you do with the concept of mutual credit. So a trust line is basically a two-person way of having Alice and Bob spending money with each other. How can they actually spend money without having money? So Alice says to Bob that he has a credit line with her, and Bob says that Alice has a credit line with him. Basically saying that if I want to buy something from somebody, or from Bob here in this case, Alice wants to buy something from Bob, Alice will issue an IOU to Bob and saying, I owe you this money now, allowing Bob to give her something in value, and Alice not needing to have an existing value, but just having her trust that she will repay this money at a certain point of time. So if you have two people, it works, because at some point Bob will also need to buy something from Alice, for example, and instead of then paying her, he can also send an IOU for 5, for example, and that would just cancel out the debt. So Alice doesn't owe Bob anything, Bob doesn't owe Alice anything. They basically did 2 exchanges, they created their own value, it got canceled out, both have the thing that they bought from each other, and they're doing fine. But how do I actually do this with a person that I do not trust? In this case, the poor guy is called Charlie. So Alice does not trust Charlie, and Charlie also does not trust Alice. They don't know each other, they've never seen each other, but Alice wants to buy something from Charlie. So how should we do this? By using basically a path of connected people that trust each other. You can pay somebody within the same network without knowing the person or trusting the person. Because if Alice pays something to Charlie, even though it might assume that she is sending her 5 IOUs, it's actually going over Bob. So Alice owes Bob 5, and Bob now owes Charlie 5. In this case, Charlie being then able to give Alice something in worth of $5. This is what we refer to as a multi-hop payment, or Ripple, and Ripple is also an old concept of a payment system too, which had a very similar idea, just as background information and history. So Charlie was now able to basically sell something to Alice, even though that Charlie doesn't trust Alice and Alice doesn't trust Charlie. So now the problem is Bob owes something to Charlie, and maybe how do we clear out this debt? So you would assume now that you go and say, okay, at some point of time, I have to give somebody €5 in cash to settle this debt, but you don't necessarily have to do that, because if you have a system where you have some circular flow of goods or enough connectivity with people, you'll eventually come to the case where you have Dave that wants something from Bob, and he would also not trust that person. So Dave can actually buy something from Bob by going over Charlie. And this basically would now cancel out the debt that these people have with each other, because Charlie would owe something to Bob. Dave would owe something to Charlie. Charlie would owe something to Bob. And since Bob is owing something to Charlie, that cancels out the debt also. Sybil attacks. You might now think, okay, cool, I'll just create a bunch of trust lines with myself, pump the volume up, and be able to buy a luxurious car or something like that. No, it won't work, because if you're that kind of person and you have friends, they'll probably know that you're that kind of person. So there's a natural, basically, blockage, because even though Eve can create a lot of trust lines with herself, and she can have a lot of balance with herself, at some point of time, she has to connect somebody that she trusts or that trusts her, and that's basically where the bottleneck is, because in this case Alice knows Eve and she'll say, I only trust you worth of €10. So even though that Eve has this huge amount of credit lines with herself, if she wants to pay Alice or anybody in the network itself, she'll only be able to spend a maximum amount of 10. So is this money? Depends on the definition, depends on which country, depends on which regulation, depends on if you, I don't know, depends on so much factors. But if you can pay something with it and if people accept it, then yes, I can call it money. If anybody is new to Frankfurt and they deal with cryptocurrency, I can very highly recommend the Bundesbank Money Museum, which is here in Frankfurt. Geldmuseum. Bundesbank Geldmuseum.
I wanted to take the
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. It doesn't take. So Bundesbank is the central bank of Germany, and they have a money museum there. So basically, money museum. So the history of money and how is money systems based up. And the first room that you walk in, they have this. What is money? And the last sentence is especially something that I really like, because they say it doesn't matter what money is as long as it is being accepted to exchange. Yeah? What? They're open till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes.
I think they're on summer break. I looked it up.
I was there last week.
We can go.
But it's really nice. If you have never had about 800,000 euros worth of value in one of your hands, you can go there because you can actually lift up a gold barrel, which is worth of 800,000 euros. That's really nice. Yeah, you can only lift it up like 2 millimeters, but it's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so that basically answers the question of money. If you can use it as exchange, why shouldn't it be money? So bootstrapping the network, we have slides for this, but I'm going to do it even cooler. I'm going to actually show the app. So the whole system is up and running since last year. We have a mobile application. It's end-to-end. People don't need to know what crypto is because we basically abstract that away from them. They can actually just use it without needing to deal with crypto because, as mentioned, also a lot of financial inclusion applications, they say, will solve the problem. Here's the app. The first question is the relevant link. It's still in test phase, so you have to accept some terms and services, etc. And you can download the app, and you'll basically start it, and you can, once my internet works. Okay, that's why I have two. I'll just sign up. So accept terms of services. And now what was happening, we're creating a local wallet on your phone, connecting to the Trustlines blockchain, which is a single purpose chain, sidechain to Ethereum. And the relay server that you're connected to is deploying an identity contract on that chain so that the user does not need to deal with crypto, but can actually use the concept of meta transactions to do transactions with each other. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do test one. He'll save his username. And now it basically goes ahead. So Trustlines is usable with, you have to have at least one other person to do it because you wouldn't want to be like Eve that opens Trustlines with herself. You always need to have a partner. So this is now basically the part where I would need to create a trust and a partner screen, but I'm just going to skip that since I need a different account for that. And
is there any underlying kind of rating or something system? I mean, for instance, here I can add any address of any user or some trust tool. So
well, in this first case, you're just creating a wallet locally, and then you create the trust line. So who you create a trust line with is up to you. So whatever you connect to and whoever you want to borrow money or lend money from is up to you.
I don't know if it's time for questions.
Go ahead.
But what's the worst case? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like I connect to 5. What if I connect to everybody here and none of you ever pay me back? Or what would be the worst case?
Would you
I don't know, I'm just trying to think.
borrow me 200 euros now?
Probably not, because I don't know you.
Then you would not connect to me on the app.
Right, so the worst case is I overcommit myself.
Yes.
Because I made the wrong
Yes.
decision.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's what you do offline anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I was just thinking,
Yeah.
what is the worst?
So yeah.
Like cheap trust.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, the guy that you go out to drink beers 5 years and you borrow 1,000 euro just doesn't show up anymore.
So it's the same when I go out. and
Yes.
I give the guy 20 and
Yes.
I met him and I said he gets me back next time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's the concept. So let me start this again. So what we have is, just to give you an overview, we have about 47 different currency networks deployed. So you can have trust lines in all different types of denominations. We have Argentinian peso, Australian dollar. We have beer, which is the most prominent network. You wouldn't believe it. We have time. We have favors. There's a bunch of them. Yeah. So if you don't find your currency that you want to use here, you'll probably not find it anywhere. We also have ETH. We also have Bitcoin in it, so you can have trust lines in cryptocurrency too. Sadly, it's not allowed in China, so we have to make maybe a China-friendly app, or maybe not.
There's some echo.
There's some echo here.
We have Kubernetes.
Let's look.
Cuban peso. Any of the Cuban stable coins? COC, FLC.
Colombia peso.
Yeah, this is cool because you can actually have everything as a currency.
Yeah.
But how do you input it?
So you can in the app you actually can't input it. So what you have is what you get, but you can in theory have your own relay server and you can have your own currency. So the app itself is usable by anybody. Yeah? You can also switch the server that you're connected to. We have a default server in it. If you don't trust the default server, spin up your own and use that. So you don't even have to trust on us. You basically just switch the relay server and then you can enter a different relay server without a problem. Yeah. Oh, why is this not opening? Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's try it again. Okay, then we'll just do it on one phone. So any trust lines that you create needs to have a two-way signature. You can reduce the balance of credit at any point of time so that if you run into a case where you might not trust the other person, you don't need to have his confirmation to reduce the credit line. You'll just reduce it to zero so that that person basically cannot borrow money from you anymore.
When Crown DeFi?
When what?
Nothing, sorry, joke for Jose, sorry.
Okay.
Is this on a blockchain or
Yes.
is it a peer-to-peer network?
No, it's completely on a blockchain. You can. It's a Ethereum sidechain. So this is basically the block explorer that we have. You could see so. Yes, it's trust lines. So 32 seconds ago, the identity country was basically deployed from that person. So you'll go through the trust lines then, and now you can basically open the trust lines. You can select which denomination you want to have. It will do beer. You can read what the currency network is. You can click next. You'll enter, in this case, you can have a mutual credit, which means that both sides of the credit network is the same. Or you can go in advance and say, the credit limit that I am giving you is X, and the credit limit that you're giving me is Y. We'll use simple mode, so the default would be 10. I can borrow that person 10, he can lend 10 from me. We'll review the trust line, and now we'll request the trust line. So again, we can see then on the blockchain, here's the transaction, trust line has been sent. Then we go to the dashboard, we can also see that it has been sent. We'll switch accounts because the other one doesn't want to work. We log in. So we see here, oh, we received a trust lines request from somebody. It's test 2. I can verify him through the little identicon, or if he's sitting right across me. In this case, I did it from the same phone, so I know that that's actually the real person. I'll accept it. And the trust line has been created. So now if I'm out and drinking beer with somebody or with this guy, basically if he buys a drink for me, I'll owe him a beer. So what I'll do is I'll click on send, then I'll choose the contact. I'll do 1, enter a description. Thanks for beer. Confirm. And now I can see, okay, I sent him an IOU so that if I go on to his contact, and the transaction is through, I can actually see that my balance is negative, so I owe him 1 beer. And that's it. Any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
What information do you have about the people that most use the app in sense of what kind of use case they use this kind of currency?
So we're trying to get people in doing it for community currencies, since this is like topic for today too.
But this case in the sense for owning, for owning like some debts is, for example, you were talking about the views that you.
Yeah. So beer is one of the most common things. You go out, drink beer with somebody, you'll pay around, he'll pay around. At the end of the day, one person owes somebody else.
And after beers, what are your currency network more used?
The euro one, because we are based in Germany and that's what we're pushing the most. Yeah, we use it like in the office. We use it for if we go to the supermarket and buy food. For co-workers, we'll just say, okay, I'll buy Rewe now, you'll buy Rewe tomorrow. So it's basically a rotation.
And there is a lot of settlement?
There is almost no settlement, no, because the debt cancels out. And if you have in our office, it's very close because everybody knows and everybody trusts with each other. So we just rotate. Yeah? The settlement part could be problematic for a person that is not well connected to people in the beginning, but eventually the debt should go in a way that it always cancels out. The protocol itself will try always to reduce the imbalance of the system. So if you basically, you can also, if you do payments, you can see which route the payments went, or you can see this one was a direct payment. If you would now have a payment that uses hops, you'll see that it was a Ripple payment, and you'll also see how many hops it actually took in the network. It's always the main goal to reduce the total imbalance, so total debt within the system to 0. So it'll choose the path, even if it may be longer, but it'll choose the path that reduces the imbalance, basically.
Did you ever encounter a problem, or does something happen I open a channel with Bruce, let's say, and before I'm even really able to do anything, because I have a lot of trust lines to everyone else in this room, my balance is already used for a settlement. Is that something that happens often?
Your balance is already used for settlement. Yeah. Settlement would always result in debt elimination, so that would actually clear up your balance and would actually allow more money being able to flow through you. At any point of time where a trust line is basically maxed out, so that could happen, yeah, but that also would mean that there should be another trust line or another path where your available credit increases, because it's always, if I owe you something, somebody else owes me something. So if your credit is maxed out, the same amount that you owe him, somebody will owe you. So it could very well be if, for example, I want to pay something to him through you, that your credit line would be maxed out. And then somebody else wants to pay me, but he wouldn't have a trust line with you. It would go a different way, and then you wouldn't be able to pay. Yeah, that could happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks for proving me wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
I guess you use here the better transactions because somebody's paying for transactions,
Yes.
right? Who's paying?
So currently it's the default relay server that we have, and he's just paying for it. TLC is very cheap. I think one transaction currently costs 0.0000003 euro cents. So really, really cheap. No, it's not. It's a native currency to the Trustlines blockchain, so it's volatile in theory, but there's so much around that the price is, and that was the concept of why we actually decided to use our own blockchain, because it's like a single purpose blockchain. And back then, where we decided to do a blockchain, the problem with Ethereum was actually not as big. But yeah, but we said, at some point of time, if level 2 solutions do not scale enough and are not fast enough will result in a problem that transactions. So if we would have built on Ethereum, trust lines would basically be dead now because you wouldn't be able to pay for transactions. So that was it.
Have you considered holochain? This is perfect for holochain. Or you're still too low with
I'm not completely digged into holochain, but we want to use blockchain for that. Yeah. Yes.
I got a question, not very technical, but more about adoption, because in Blockchain for Humanity we have relationships, also but
Yeah.
also with other mutual credit systems, and it seems to me that one of the hardest part, like you were saying, is like that people doesn't know what's money, doesn't know.
That's
like
really.
it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Are you doing in trust lines anything, or do you have any plan to overcome this barrier? Because for me, this is not a technical barrier.
No, it's not.
The
It's
technical
not.
thing, it's perfectly done. But how do we make people to understand that we need another kind of money that is fairer than the one we have now?
So we try to explain what trust lines is, and if they understand trust lines, the chance that they understand money is higher. Like our mission is not to educate people on what is money, but it's to educate people on what is trust lines, which has also the component. If you understand mutual credit and you understand that money is debt, then you understand the current financial market very well. Because even in today's financial system, money is debt always towards somebody. Always. It doesn't matter if it's on your bank account, it doesn't matter if it's the cash in your pocket, it's always a debt that somebody has towards somebody. And you can do payments with that money because people accept it, and people allow that you do the rippling. Also, the same thing that you have here with the multi-hops banks use in the Eurozone for financial system. At the end of the night, they do a settlement over Target 2 to their central bank, and then central bank money moves, which is a debt toward the state. So it's basically the same concept, just bringing the power of the money creation and being your own bank completely into your own pocket. Completely.
But what was my curiosity was about, like, given that relationship between adoption of trust lines and the understanding why it's important, that leads to the concept of understanding.
Definitely.
Credit. Well, maybe we could, Blockchain for Humanity, like, work together with edit blogs or forever.
I'm very, very happy.
To make it happen. Because otherwise people just get distracted. Our span of attention, we don't know.
I would very much like that. We're starting to build like a chapter model where we basically want to like just give people information about that, and that would be definitely something that could be included in that, like what is money, how does money work, so that people understand it.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. More questions. Go ahead.
Oh, we did it. No. I had a question because I think you answered which blockchain you're using.
The Trust Lines blockchain.
So it's your own blockchain.
It's a own run blockchain, which is run by about 30 unknown validators. We use the MPOS consensus algorithm, which is basically a spin-off of proof of stake and proof of authority. So we didn't want to use a single proof of stake because with a single purpose stake, you can always have one person staking so much that he has multiple validator slots. We didn't want to have proof of authority because then we know who is actually running the chain. And if somebody comes to us and says, tell me who's running the chain, we'd be able to give him that information. So we combine proof of stake with proof of authority in a way that we do not know who's running the chain, but the chance that we have one person running multiple validators is very slow. How did we do that? We had 10 anchor points in Twitter where we said, let's create a trust graph within Twitter. So we identified 10 well-known people within the crypto space that are trustworthy. And we said, whoever they follow are within our trusted community. And whoever they follow are also in our trusted community. Not the other way around. Not who follows him, but who he follows. That reduces, because I personally will not follow one person on 2 different Twitter accounts. If it's like one Twitter account and he creates a new one, I'm like, hey, what is he a scam or something like that? So the chance is reduced. It's not eliminated, but it's reduced. So these people were allowed to send us their email address to basically, it's called TrustLines Validate. Its only purpose is to collect the email addresses of these people. And then we took these email addresses and put them into a German-based company, Lime Survey. That's what the company called, a survey tool. GDPR standards in Germany are very, very, very high. So we said Germany is a good country to do this. And these people received an email which invited them to a survey where they can enter an Ethereum address. There's no link between email address and Ethereum address. So even though we have the email addresses, we do not know whose Ethereum addresses maps to which email address. The Ethereum addresses are then whitelisted into an auction contract on the Ethereum chain, and these people can then bid on a validator auction. The first one was in ETH, the second one is now in TrustLines network tokens, and it's then locked in a lock contract, deposit contract for 9 months, after which they then can claim it, and we will have a new auction to determine a new validator set.
I think we need to talk also about a DApp powered blockchain for humanity validation.
DAppNode is running a TrustLines integration. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, probably. If we're, are you? Yeah, then I'm in the Telegram chat. Yeah. No, I was very proud because that was the first DAppNode. Like DAppNode created this this project for non-profit organizations, etc. And we were the first one in that program. That was really cool. And it works. Like I'm not technical stupid, but I'm also not good, I would say, like, especially with setting up your own node, etc. And DAppNode works very, very well. Click, 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 finished. Yeah. You have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we are entering in the last part of our meetup today. We will have Wojtek presenting. No, I'm joking. No, I will be presenting, but I don't like to present myself. So let's.
We will have Gus presenting.
Oh, thank you, Wojtek. What's happening here? This way? Yes. Just 1 second. Cool. Where is it? Here. The sample. So I'm going to talk today about this use case that we are calling community prosperity currencies, which is the result of several months or even years of watching and analyzing the different kind of not only currencies, but not only community currencies, but every kind of currencies. We've been in the blockchain space since really beginning. And we believe in this power about blockchain empowering community currencies, because community currencies is nothing new at all. Probably this is one of the first things that humanity had in their history, their own agreements. Okay. So yeah, with blockchain we start to see the raising of a new kind of currency, which is Bitcoin itself. We believe in this not only as a new kind of money, but also about the enabler of a new kind of world. Bitcoin is teaching us a lot of things that we forgot, and well, we are already taking that this path thanks to Bitcoin, thanks to guys like this one here, Friedrich Hayek. This is an Austrian economist. And he, in the 76, wrote this book that is called the Denationalization of Money. And he really believed that a very good thing to test for improving the macroeconomics performance, which means that the wealthness of the whole world, will be thanks to the open competition of currencies and free banking. Okay, what does this mean? That instead of only having few institutions like banks, commercial banks or central banks, which are the only people that can issue money, we can liberate that. Before we saw an example of people-powered money. This is the kind of currencies that we want to see. We want to lower the barrier so people can agree among each other how they can do their currencies. We believe that a world like that, thank you, in which every kind of individuals and their collective can agree on their own currencies, an enabling way of exchanging values about these different networks will bring economic balance to the whole planet. And this is what we are starting for. So two things, currency competition and free banking. With currency competition, we don't mean this, okay? This is maybe what we see today in the market as free competitions, but this is very similar to the old way. This is very old-fashioned. It's speculating just to gain green figures or red figures here. Okay, we don't see this as a currency, but this may be some kind of capital markets. Okay, this is the kind of currencies that we will like to see. This is free banking. This slide is to explain that concept, which means allow, in that context, okay, they mean to private institutions, allow any kind of private institutions to issue their own money, okay, with their own rules, to be transparent among those, to avoid scams or people adopting bad behavior, because when you are actually able to do money, bad behavior is at the gates of temptation. And this is actually the reason why they didn't allow that. We don't see this kind of word. We only see monopoly money word, because they had that excuse. No, if we allow people to make their own money, they're gonna behave bad, so they can't, and they forbid that. We believe that with blockchain, you can bring a lot of transparency and resilience and protocols to this kind of currency networks. So those those reasons to be unafraid, like 15 years ago or 50 years ago or even more, are not valid anymore. Remember that before, in late of the 19th century, the United States had a free banking system, but it bankrupt because of bad behaviors. And then the Federal Reserve came with their rules. Well, but that's another story for another day. And yeah, it's important. It's very important to differentiate money from currency. Before, Andreas was telling us that money is debt. I agree with that, but I don't only agree with that. I think that there are all other kind of money that can be generated without debts. Like, for example, it will be the gold, this kind of merchandise money. Bitcoin itself is not debt. While currencies is the manifestation of money. Currency is the token. Currency is the paper. Currency is the number on a ledger. And currency is what flows around people. So, and money is, of course, power of acquisition, intangible and tangible. And we have this guy that defines money in a very practical way, in my view, which is just an agreement within a community to use something as a medium of exchange. But as Andreas was telling before, there is actually a lot of discussions and a lot of different positions about what money is or what money should be. But if you just don't care, and as long as it's something that you use that can be acceptable for acquiring other things and exchanging stuff, that's useful, and that's what you need to focus on. And following, what we were talking about community currencies, people just agreeing among themselves. This is an example that emerged in Spain after the 2007 crisis, in which the whole financial system just collapsed. The monetary supply se contrae. Doesn't matter. Contracted. Yeah, but I lost it. It's okay. So this is an image of 2009, and a lot of different associations were created where people just agreeing on a new kind of currency, and they did it. But the situation today is not that one. We don't have that network in Spain today, because after some time, the euro and the thing that people were able to purchase more things with the euro, and people stopped to trusting in that community currency, or they needed to interact and exchange with other people that didn't have your own community currency. Those systems collapse, and this is the main reason why we can see that community currencies, as we know, they haven't worked. This is, of course, blockchains that currencies that didn't live on a blockchain. They didn't have blockchain back then.
But you know, it's basically about trust. And I was very close to some project in Andalusia.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
They have the coin.
The coin.
Yeah. It was about trust. At the beginning, it was a lot of hype. People were excited.
Yeah.
They were too close. You know, you just couldn't exchange certain things just inside of your community. If you wanted to expand that, you would need to have more people around, to have included some other places of Spain. And that issue was tricky for them. So my brother was among one of the people that was organizing the community talking and Malaga as well. That's why they call the coin. And unfortunately, and then I don't know what happened with La Junta de Andalucía.
Yeah, the thing is that at the end of the day, these currencies are system of people. No.
Yeah, but as I said, I think it's a matter of trust. People didn't trust that much. They were excited at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't reject certain amount of things, and it was too close. They didn't grow that community.
They
Trust of what they didn't 100% trust the whole system. And in Catalonia too, they had an amazing project as well.
They had exchange with the they didn't have exchange with the euro. No, not at all. Yeah, and in our hypothesis, one of the main reasons why those system fails, yes, of course, first is the lack of trust. If you don't have trust in your community, you can't have the success of that. But even if you have trust, because there are communities that are able, you build trust with good governance, usually, okay? Even if you have it, there is a thing that when you are in this network, creating network, you want this network to provide everything you need, okay? If you're gonna work for this network and receive that currency, you also need that the network itself provide what you need. you need to pay the rent, you need to pay the car, the petrol, you need to buy some shoes, and buy whatever food you eat, and etc. So, and usually communities are limited somehow. It's very difficult that your community will be there to provide all your needs. Okay, so in some way you still need to interact with the rest of the world, and in that case you still need the euro. Yeah. So if they still need the euro, they will continue to use the euro. And then if they start to see that kind of example of lack of trust, dude, yeah, let's do the euro because this is what has worked for me so far. Okay, maybe in the moment when they created that, especially in this image, there was a lack of liquidity, not only in Spain, but in the whole Europe and in the whole world. So boom, emerge. Oh, remember, we can do our own money, but if you don't have the trust and you don't have the network, it will fail. So what we want to do is to allow these value networks to interact with other value networks. Okay, this kind of interoperability among currencies is crucial for a currency survivance, basically because in general system theory, there is no thing as a closed system. It can exist, so you need to make it open, but not that open, because if you open it too much, then you are vulnerable to attacks or to not bad intentioned people. No, so in our analysis of the technology, we have seen that there are already protocols and initiatives that are working on building the community assets, in bonding community assets into a single thing, into a single token or currency. Okay, this is again the bonding curve. I won't explain about bonding curve because Kirill already mentioned it before. Okay, but what they are do is basically a potluck. Look, we are a community. We can save our assets, our money in a community fund. And look, with this kind of protocols, we can create debt over that. We can create liquidity in a new currency that we just invent in that moment. Okay? And that what the bonding curve is that you need to build the mechanisms and the system in order to, even if you have a short supply, like for example, a supply of your reserve, let's say 1,000 euros, you can create 4,000 euros in your 4,000 community euros, let's say. What the bonding curve does is that it assures that even if the collateral is lower, the price will be 1 equal to 1. So when people need to interact with the external economy, they will be able to exchange their community currencies against this protocol, okay? And they will get euros to buy their foods and stuff. And the fact that the price decrease, it's also creating new incentives. So other people that belong to that community see, oh, look, but if I buy community euros tokens at 0.9 euro, and that guy there will accept me 10 euros or 10 community currencies for buying this t-shirt, you will see a discount opportunity there. So the stability of the community currency will be balanced around this stability point. But we don't need only technology to do this, okay? We need to educate a lot of people to bond, to be together, and to find the values. Sorry, that the values that they put them together and create generate value out of that. Generate it in a way in which you can spend it and take profit with your activities within that community. And this is all. This was my presentation. Thank you. Guys.